Today I'm trying to solve the problem of the Kayo 150 that dies of fuel starvation. Based on what I found on my other Kayo 155 over there, is the height of the carburetor. Here's the fuel inlet here. If I back out here, if I put my arm just across the frame there, you can see that it's covering the fuel inlet in the background, this little guy. When you lay the tank on, the fuel petcock is roughly flat there. What I'm seeing is the height of this is the same height as the petcock. Fluid flows downhill. It doesn't necessarily flow sideways very well. If the fuel line dips down and comes back up, or the fuel line comes off the petcock, say right here, and the fuel line goes up and over, basically the fuel can't get to the carb. And I think that's why when I do manage to get it started, it only runs for a while. I'm gonna move the carb in the intake boot here and try to tilt the carb down a little bit to lower that as much as I can. I've moved things around, moved the air filter, cocked it inwards a little bit. But the key piece is I've put a little more space at the front of the intake manifold. I've done the same thing here at the front. There's a little more space in there. Not sure if that will show up. And then I tighten the clamps back up. The idea was to essentially move the carburetor down a little bit and lower that. Next phase here, I have just finished putting a clamp on a short piece of fuel line here. I'm making it short for a reason. This is Tygon tubing, so it's clear. I want to be able to see if fuel is flowing when I turn it on. If it's black opaque line, I won't be able to see if there's any fuel getting to the carb. So that's the approach there. So I put that short little piece on. It points upward. Fuel flows downhill. Now I'm going to try to get the tank on here and connect the fuel line there to the fuel line here. With the tank back on, I found a piece of clear Tygon hose that I've attached to the petcock up there. Hard to see. And then, because it faces backward, it's going to have to loop back around and then connect in on the other end of the hose. I know, two hoses, how am I going to connect it? So here in the end, I have inserted a piece of aluminum into the hose so it won't collapse. I can then stick the smaller hose inside the bigger hose and zip tie it together, sort of a clamp. But the two pieces of hose should seal pretty well, actually. But the Smartcarb has a bigger fuel inlet than the fuel petcock does, so there's a bit of a mismatch there. Smartcarb SE2. Anyway, just pointing that out for future reference. I'll get that connected and see if I can get fuel in the bike. Tank back on. I have routed the hose, inserted it. I haven't zip tied it yet, but I want to turn on the fuel petcock and see if we can get fuel flowing. I just saw the bubble move. So yes, so far so good. I think we're getting fuel to the carb. Time to back up and try starting the bike. Time to go ride the Kayo. Smartcarb's back in, everything's back together. Time to give it a cold start push. Turn the fuel petcock on first. Okay, fuel's on. It's in gear. Gotta give it a push. It is cold. The reason that is so difficult is because I can't get to the choke. The choke is on the carb body, and it's not easy to get to. So I have to start it without the choke. But so far so good. It's not starving for fuel. Usually it would get 300 yards from my apartment and just die. So far it's running through the gears, even though it's cold. Seems to be running okay. Idles. I would consider that a win. It's my fuel line.